Welcome to the Cala Builders podcast. Picture this for a second. You are, pulling a heavy, just blistering hot roasting pan out of a 400-degree oven.
Oh, terrifying.
Right. And at that exact moment, your partner decides to open the dishwasher door to load a coffee mug.
Yep. I know this dance.
Suddenly, the two of you are locked in this high-stakes, incredibly awkward game of kitchen Tetris, where, one wrong pivot ends with either a dropped roast or just third-degree burns.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. And if you live in an older home here in Los Angeles, you know this exact situation. You do the sideways shuffle, right? You suck your stomach in just to pass the refrigerator.
Exactly. It's like this daily physical negotiation with your own house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the universal assumption is that, the only way to win that negotiation is to tear the whole house apart.
Right. We're totally conditioned to believe that more physical space is the only cure for functional problems.
Yeah. Like if you want a better kitchen, you just need a sledgehammer, a dumpster, and a massive home addition. But for today's deep dive, we are going to completely flip that script. We're exploring how to make a tiny kitchen feel massive and, work twice as hard without knocking down your exterior walls.
Which is so crucial for so many people.
Totally. And we're getting our intel today directly from the project files and layout strategies of Cala Builders.
Yeah, they are a premier full-service design-build firm based right here in LA. And if you're checking their credentials, they operate under license number 1156496.
Good to know.
Yeah, and they really dominate this landscape. I mean, they handle an enormous variety of projects. So we're talking custom luxury homes, large commercial builds, ADUs, complex additions. Their footprint is just massive across LA County.
They cover a ton of ground.
Right, specifically areas like Woodland Hills, Calabasas, the San Fernando Valley, Pasadena, Glendale, and then stretching all the way across to West LA and Santa Monica.
Right. And because they're, in the trenches of those specific, really established neighborhoods, they constantly run into the same universal headache, which is the severely outdated, highly congested, hyper-compact kitchen.
Yeah, and to really understand how to fix these spaces, we sort of have to understand why they're broken in the first place,
Right, like the root cause.
Exactly. You have to look at the architectural DNA of Los Angeles. Take a classic 1920s Spanish Revival bungalow in Pasadena, or maybe a quintessential 1950s post-war ranch out in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
Those homes often feature these incredibly narrow galley kitchens. And I mean, why is that? Because when they were built, the kitchen was strictly a utility space.
Right. It wasn't the heart of the home like it is now. Nobody was, entertaining guests while stirring risotto in 1952.
No, not at all. Cooking was a solitary, behind closed doors chore. And furthermore, think about the appliances they were designing around back then.
Oh, that's true.
In the 20s or the 50s, you didn't have a massive 36-inch wide double-door smart refrigerator.
Yep.
You didn't have a microwave, a heavy stand mixer, an air fryer, and some massive espresso machine, all demanding, permanent residence on your counters. The physical shell of the room reflects a domestic lifestyle that it simply evaporated 50 years ago.
I love thinking about it like an outdated smartphone.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. Because it's not that the physical device in your hand is necessarily flawed, like the glass and the metal are fine.
Right.
But the operating system, the actual layout and flow of the kitchen, it just simply isn't built to run the modern apps of your life.
Exactly.
It can't handle how you cook or how you store bulk groceries or, how multiple people inhabit the space today.
That is the perfect analogy. And it leads to this major epiphany that really drives the design philosophy at Cala Builders. The room isn't actually too small, it's just catastrophically disorganized.
Wow. Catastrophically disorganized.
Yeah. If you fundamentally restructure the floor plan, a remodel in a tiny kitchen actually yields a much higher return on utility per square foot than building a massive kitchen expansion down the hall.
Okay, so if the physical square footage isn't the real enemy here, how do we hack the physical layout we already have? I mean, I know we have to talk about the galley rules, right?
Yes. The galley kitchen is essentially two parallel counters with a walkway down the middle. In theory, it's the most efficient layout in the world because everything you need is just a quick pivot away.
Like in a restaurant.
Exactly. Commercial restaurant kitchens are almost always galleys for this exact reason. But there is a strict, unbreakable mathematical rule to make a residential galley work.
Okay, lay on me.
You absolutely must maintain a walkway of 36 to 42 inches between those parallel counters.
Okay, let's visualize that for the listener. So that's 3 to 3.5 feet of pure empty floor space.
Right. And it has to be completely unobstructed. The moment that clearance drops to, say, 34, 32 inches, the efficiency just collapses.
It's gone.
Yeah. If two people are in the room, it instantly feels claustrophobic. You physically cannot have someone opening the oven door while someone else walks past to get to the sink.
Well, hang on. Let me challenge something here. Because everything I have ever read or watched about kitchen design just worships at the altar of the work triangle.
Ah, yes, the infamous work triangle.
Right. The idea that your sink, your stove, and your fridge should form this perfect geometric triangle, usually facing each other on opposite walls. Are you telling me to throw out a century of architectural doctrine?
I am. I mean, in a massive open concept kitchen, the work triangle is fantastic. But when you shrink the footprint down to a narrow galley, that traditional triangle actually becomes a trap.
Wait, really? A trap?
Yeah, and the design teams at Cala have proven this time and time again. In a microspace, placing the sink and the stove on opposite walls creates what I like to call a pivot and crash dynamic.
Oh, right, because if I have to turn 180 degrees holding like a colander full of boiling pasta water, and I only have 36 inches of clearance.
You're going to hit somebody.
Yeah, I'm a hazard to myself and anyone else in the room.
Exactly. It's dangerous, and honestly, it's psychologically exhausting. So, to hack a tiny space, the experts suggest throwing out the triangle completely and adopting a linear workflow.
A linear workflow, okay.
Yeah, placing the sink and the stove at opposite ends of the same wall drastically improves the functionality of a small kitchen.
Oh, I see the mechanics of that now. So you wash and prep your vegetables at the sink, then you just slide down a central stretch of continuous prep counter,
Yep.
and you drop them right into a pan on the stove. It's an assembly line. No spinning around at all.
Precisely. You move laterally, which is much safer, and just feels incredibly intuitive in a tight footprint.
Okay, I want you, the listener, to mentally walk through your own kitchen right now. Just picture the flow, and more importantly, ask yourself this. Are you trying to force a kitchen island into a space that absolutely cannot support it?
Oof, yeah, this is a big one.
Right. Because looking at the data from these LA renovations, forcing an island is listed by Cala builders as one of the most disastrous, most common layout mistakes homeowners make.
It really is the ultimate layout killer. People crave the aesthetic of an island. I get it. They want that casual, gather around the counter vibe.
Sure.
But if adding a freestanding island eats into that crucial 36-inch walkway clearance, you have destroyed the room.
Yeah.
You're going to spend the next 10 years bumping your hips on sharp stone corners every single time you try to make breakfast.
But let's empathize with why people want the island in the first place. They want an open feel.
Yeah.
They want a connection to the living room or the dining room.
Definitely.
So if my footprint physically can't hold an island, and I don't have the budget for a massive beam-altering demolition to create a fully open concept, how do I get that connected feeling?
Well, you do it by manipulating sightlines. Instead of removing a structural wall completely, which is super expensive, you add a pass-through opening.
Oh, like a cutout.
Exactly. Or you take a non-load-bearing wall and just lower it to a half wall, opening up the visual space into the dining area.
Ah, so you are essentially borrowing the visual square footage from the next room over.
That's exactly it. Your eyes travel further, so your brain perceives the kitchen as larger, even though the actual footprint hasn't grown by a single inch.
That's so smart.
It gives you the expansive feel without blowing up your structural budget.
That is fascinating. But it also means that, once you have this physical layout locked in, like once you have your 42-inch walkway, your linear workflow, your sight lines opened up, you have to tackle the visual layout.
Yes.
The optical illusions, how your eyes actually perceive the boundaries of the space.
And this is where we are seeing a massive shift in aesthetic trends, specifically looking ahead to 2026.
Oh, what's changing?
Well, for the longest time, the default advice for small spaces was just paint everything bright, stark white.
Right, make it look like an operating room.
Exactly. But the top designers are aggressively moving away from those clinical all-white showrooms. The new approach favors light, warm color palettes paired with heavily textured natural materials.
Walk me through the psychology of that. Like, why doesn't pure white work in a galley? Because I always assumed white equaled big.
It's a common misconception. Pure white relies on bright, even, multi-directional light to look expansive.
Mm.
In a cramped, narrow galley kitchen, you usually don't have perfect light.
Yeah, that's true.
So shadows pool in the corners and under the cabinets, and that pristine white turns into a dingy, clinical gray in the shadows, which immediately highlights exactly where the walls are closing in on you. It defines the tight boundaries.
Oh, wow. It basically makes it feel like a box.
Exactly. But when you introduce warmth and natural materials, like, say, a light riffs-on white oak, you are introducing texture. Wood absorbs and reflects light at varying angles. It creates visual depth, which tricks the eye into perceiving more space. It feels cozy rather than claustrophobic.
I love that. Of course, the absolute lowest cost, highest impact trick for visual expansion is natural light itself.
Oh, for sure.
Expanding a window, or even, cutting in a small tubular skylight, does more to make a small kitchen feel spacious than almost any other material choice. It physically changes how the human brain perceives the volume of the room.
And you can multiply the effect of that natural light with the right finishes. So, for example, if you have light walls, you want to pair them with light countertops. You absolutely want to avoid heavy, dark, brooding stone in a small galley.
Right, because dark colors absorb the light instead of bouncing it back.
Exactly. Dark, heavy countertops visually advance toward you. They weigh the room down and make the walls feel like they're actively closing in.
It really is just an accumulation of micro details, like the source notes mention using a mirrored or glossy backsplash and running it completely unbroken all the way up to the ceiling. Why the ceiling?
Two main reasons. First, a glossy, continuous backsplash acts like a massive reflector. It catches whatever natural light is coming through your window and bounces it deeper into the dark corners of the room.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, stopping a backsplash halfway up the wall creates a harsh horizontal line. And horizontal lines visually cut a room in half. By running the tile all the way to the ceiling, you remove that line, drawing the eye upward and making the ceiling feel significantly taller.
It's exactly like tailoring a suit.
Yes.
If you want to look taller and leaner, you don't wear a wide belt that cuts you in half. You wear vertical stripes. You go for a slim cut lapel. In a kitchen, using continuous backsplashes and flat panel cabinets draws the eye up. It streamlines the silhouette of the room.
And I'm guessing this logic applies to appliances too, right?
Absolutely. Slim profile appliances are critical. Bulky, protruding handles on a refrigerator, ornate heavy trim on cabinets, a microwave that sticks out past the counter, all of that is visual clutter.
Yeah.
And in a compact space, your brain processes visual clutter as psychological stress. But here is the fatal flaw in minimalist sightlines, in my opinion. The second you actually try to live in that kitchen, like the moment you bring home a bag of groceries or leave the blender out because you make a smoothie every morning, the minimalist illusion completely shatters.
It does. It really does.
Clean lines look great in a 3D rendering, but real life is messy.
Yeah.
You have to put those things somewhere.
Which brings us to the most brutal battleground in a small kitchen.
The battle for storage.
Exactly. In a compact space, you have to fiercely defend the countertop. Counter space is your most precious real estate. Every square inch covered by a toaster is an inch you cannot use to chop an onion or plate a meal.
I totally agree. But I'm also realistic. I mean, I'm not going to carry my coffee maker up from the basement every morning.
All right.
So how do you keep daily appliances accessible without letting them cannibalize the counter?
You have to engineer places to hide the everyday clutter. The design strategy here heavily utilizes appliance garages.
Okay, break down how that actually works for the listener. What is an appliance garage?
It's essentially a specialized cabinet that sits directly on the countertop, usually tucked into a corner or under an upper cabinet with a door that lifts or slides away. The key is that the outlets are installed inside the cabinet.
Oh.
Yeah, so your coffee maker and toaster stay plugged in, fully operational, right at counter level. When you need them, you slide the door up. When you're done, you close the door, and the visual clutter instantly vanishes.
That is brilliant. What about the blind corners, though? You know, those deep, dark caverns where two cabinets meet at a right angle?
Oh, the worst!
In my house, that is basically a graveyard where Tupperware goes to die because you literally can't reach the back.
Right. Well, in an older LA kitchen, you simply cannot afford dead zones. So you aggressively utilize modern corner organizers.
Like the Lazy Susans.
But beyond that, actually,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about heavy-duty, articulated pull-out shelving systems. You open the cabinet door, and the entire back shelving unit swings out into the light of day. It completely reclaims that wasted space and makes it hyper-functional.
That's awesome. I also love the tactics they use for creating space out of thin air. The hidden temporary space
Oh,
hacks.
those are the best.
Things like cutting boards that slide out of the cabinet line right below the counter. Or incredibly slim rolling carts that slide into the gap next to the fridge, which you can just pull out to use as an island when you need it and banish when you don't.
My absolute favorite tactic in this category is the custom butcher block insert.
Yes, the sink inserts. Explain the geometry of this to the listener because it's just so smart.
Okay, so if you are hosting a dinner party and you suddenly need more prep space, you take a heavy-duty butcher block that is custom cut to fit perfectly over the lip of your sink basin, or even over your stovetop grates.
Just right on top.
Yep, you just drop it into place. By utilizing the negative space over the sink, you instantly manufacture another 2 feet of continuous usable counter space, and it requires 0 permanent structural changes to the room.
I love that. Okay, we need to address the elephant in the room regarding kitchen storage.
Uh,
The open shelving debate.
Okay.
You cannot look at a design blog right now without seeing it everywhere.
It is a massive defining trend for 2026. The strategy is to mix open floating shelves with traditional hidden storage.
Oh.
If you have a narrow galley, floor-to-ceiling upper cabinets can create a very heavy, boxed-in feeling. So swapping out a few of those heavy wooden boxes for open shelves adds a much lighter, airy, layered look to the top half of the room.
I'm going to jump in right here and issue a massive warning to you, the listener. Beware the Pinterest trap.
Yes, please listen to this warning.
I have seen this go wrong so many times. Based strictly on the source material here, open shelving only works if you are displaying a modest amount of everyday dishware, like your matching stack of white plates, your nice wine glasses.
That is a vital distinction to make.
Because if you treat open shelving like a pantry, like if you overload it with boxes of cereal, plastic tubs of peanut butter, mismatched mugs, and chaotic, bright packaging, it is the most disastrous layout mistake you can make. It takes a space that was designed to feel airy and makes it feel instantly overwhelmingly cluttered and chaotic.
It backfires completely. The open shelves are for breathing room, not bulk storage. The heavy lifting for your actual storage has to happen elsewhere, which is why vertical storage is non-negotiable.
Right.
Using wall-mounted industrial racks for pots and pans frees up massive amounts of cabinet space.
And what about those tiny slivers of space we usually ignore?
You have to make every single square inch earn its keep. You know that tiny 3 or 4 inch gap between the refrigerator and the wall?
Yeah, that just collects dust.
Exactly. Instead, you install a custom, slim, pull-out storage column on heavy-duty casters. It perfectly holds hundreds of spices or rows of canned goods, and it's completely hidden until you pull it out.
That is genius. So when we step back and synthesize all of this, what does it actually mean? Surviving and thriving in a compact Los Angeles kitchen comes down to a fundamental shift in mindset.
Definitely.
You have to reject the idea that bigger is the only solution. Instead, you avoid oversized appliances. You engineer light, both natural and layered fixtures to push the walls back visually. And above all, you prioritize a highly strategic, mathematically precise layout over blindly adding square footage.
And honestly, that level of precision is exactly why navigating a small space remodel practically demands a design-build model, like the one Cala Builders uses.
How so?
Well, when your margin for error is an inch here or there to maintain a crucial walkway, you just cannot afford a disconnect between the architect drawing the plans and the contractor swinging the hammer.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. If you hire a separate designer, they might draw a beautiful island on paper, but they might not realize the existing plumbing vent in the wall means the cabinets have to shift forward 2 inches. And suddenly your electrician is out of the loop, your 36-inch clearance drops to 34 inches, the galley is ruined, and your budget completely explodes trying to fix it.
Yeah, it happens all the time. The design-build model keeps everything under one roof. The architectural planning, the 3D design rendering, navigating the notoriously complex LA City permitting process, and the actual physical construction.
Right.
You have a unified team of licensed professionals, lead designers, master plumbers, electricians, carpenters, all working in lockstep from day one. It streamlines communication, it strictly controls the budget, and it guarantees that the beautiful vision on paper actually fits the brutal physical reality of the space.
So if you are sitting in Los Angeles County right now doing the sideways shuffle past your refrigerator and you're ready to make your compact kitchen work incredibly hard for you, there is a clear next step. You can speak directly to a specialist at Cala Builders to get a clear, no-obligation estimate and discuss the scope of your specific footprint.
Highly recommend it.
You can reach them by calling 213-855-7557. Again, that is 213-855-7557.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought that takes everything we've just unpacked and projects it a few decades into the future.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've spent this entire time dissecting how our current frustrations in these older LA homes are dictated by the bulky appliances and the segregated cooking habits of the 1950s.
Right, we are essentially fighting the ghosts of kitchens past.
Precisely. So consider this. We are already seeing the rapid rise of hyper-compact, multifunctional smart appliances. Devices that use advanced technology to bake, steam, air fry, microwave, and dehydrate, all contained in a single footprint the size of a shoebox.
Oh, wow.
If technology continues to aggressively miniaturize and combine our kitchen tools, well, how might the homes of 2050 completely eliminate the need for traditional countertops, sprawling prep zones, and heavy cabinetry altogether?
That is wild to think about. We started the day by realizing that knocking down walls isn't always the answer. Maybe the real answer is that the kitchen of the future won't need walls, or even a dedicated room at all. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.